Ladies and gentlemen, I will inform you about green public procurement. The European Commission started in 2008 to develop green public procurement for the public authorities. This, in fact, to contribute to a sustainable consumption and a sustainable production. That's of course because we, as road producers, we use a lot of material, and it means that the public authorities are major consumers. And if the European Commission would be able to turn the public authorities into green consumers, then of course they would really make an important contribution to the sustainable consumption and the sustainable production. And that's in fact the goal, to be more green in the future. I think there is no need to explain why it should be green in the future, because if we are not taking care of our environment, we will see next year that next year might be the warmest year ever, the same as we had this year. The green public procurement I'm talking about is a voluntary instrument. That means that they make, let's say, proposals countries can use, so the countries are not forced to use it. The goal of the green public procurement is, in fact, to get a Europe that is more resource efficient. It's also meant to stimulate the demand for more sustainable goods and sustainable services. It's also meant to stimulate the eco-innovation, and of course it's also meant to help to provide a clear and verifiable environmental criteria for products and services, and that could also be used for other things than roads. When you look at the green public procurement for road construction, of course you can imagine that it's an interesting area for them to focus on, because when we build roads and when we maintain the roads, we use a lot of material. I mean, we talk about hundreds of million tons of asphalt in Europe in a year. And it's also shown, in fact, in the roadmap to a resource-efficient Europe that road construction can have a great impact. And this because we use a lot of natural resources. So for those reasons, the European Commission decided to create green public procurement criteria for the design, construction and maintenance of roads. In fact, they started to do that in the year 2008, so let's say 7 years ago. They started in 2008 and the criteria were published in the year 2010. And at this moment, we are working on an update. And I say we because, in fact, also we are involved, or we have the possibility to be involved. The aim of the green public procurement criteria developed by the European Commission are, in fact, to reach a good balance between, let's say, on one hand, the environmental performance, cost considerations, market availability, and also, in fact, the ease of verification, because people can claim a lot, but you also should be able to check whether their claims are real. And the other aim is, in fact, to provide authorities with, let's say, examples, with procedures they can use. So in fact, they can use it in their own tender documents and the way they would like to do. When you look at the green public procurement approach as they have in mind, and so what I'm telling you now is in fact what was discussed in the past year. So in fact it started, let's say 1 year ago, then they created, let's say, a document, they created a vision, and I'm talking about what was created at that time. When it will be published, it might be a little bit different. But we talked about 2 types of criteria, called core criteria, let's say the simple version, and the comprehensive criteria, the more complete set of criteria. And we, as stakeholders, we had the possibility to comment on the documents they created, and we also had the possibility to comment on the draft green public procurement criteria. So we, as, let's say, EAPA had the possibility, but also, let's say, the colleagues from the concrete industry, the colleagues from the aggregate producers, the road authorities, the states. In fact, everybody was involved in the process and everybody could contribute. So in fact, it was, let's say, a good way to get involvement of all parties and also to hear all the views from the different parties. When you look at the core criteria, what you could call the simple criteria, they are designed to be used with a minimum additional verification effort or cost increase. So in fact, they are meant to be simple and to be implemented in a simple way. And they will address the key environmental impacts, and I will explain it in a later stage. And they can be used for a sustainable use by any contracting authority across the member states. So in fact, all, let's say, countries should be able to use it. When you look at the comprehensive one, the complete set, then of course you may require additional verification effort or a slight increase in cost compared with the other products with the same functionality. That means that if you start with that, then of course you also, I would say, you need to hire experts to be able to assist you as an authority to check whether all the claims are correct. And in fact, if you go for that way, in fact, then you could say that you can purchase the best environmental products that are available on the market. So in fact, then you could say you can really go for the high level. When you look at the documents that will be published by the end of this year or in the beginning of next year, then you will see that there will be 2 draft reports. The draft reports are created by the Joint Research Center in Sevilla in Spain, and the 2 reports they are creating are the following. First of all, you have, let's say, the criteria proposal, showing the criteria that you can use, and then in fact you have a thicker report called the technical report, and in the technical report you will find the technical background information, and you will also find the further details and the rationale behind all those things that are proposed. Over here you see an overview of, let's say, the key environmental areas they are addressing. And I keep it a bit short because we talk about a lot of paper and I'm trying to summarize it in a short period. So the key environmental areas that are addressed in the Green Public Procurement draft are rolling resistance due to pavement vehicle interaction. And that means that when you drive on the road with your car, you use fuel. A part of the reason that you use fuel is in fact the rolling resistance you have to overcome. And some road surfaces have a lower rolling resistance than others. And if you would be able to, let's say, lower or reduce the rolling resistance of a pavement, then in fact you could save a little bit of energy, a little bit of fuel. And if you multiply that by all the cars in Slovenia, by all the kilometers, blah, 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 then in fact you can get high numbers. And it means that in that way, in fact, you can reduce energy and you can reduce CO2, etc. The other area is depletion of natural resources. So in fact, the more you build, the more material you need. And if you use it in an efficient way, then in fact you need less resources for the same time period. The criteria also look at construction and demolition of the road. So it's not only building, but in fact it's the whole period. They also look at noise emissions during construction, during use and during maintenance, so in fact during the whole period. They also, of course, take into account the durability of the pavement surfaces. They look at congestions during construction and maintenance. And that means that if you have, let's say, techniques where you have, let's say, less maintenance or no maintenance, in fact, they will score higher. And if you have if you need a short period to close the road, then you score better than when you need a lot of time. And the last one is not so really relevant for us, but in fact it's part of the general one. That's in fact the water pollution during road construction and during the use phase. All those things I mentioned in the previous slides can be expressed in different ways. And over here, in fact, here you see the categories and how you can, let's say, categorize the environmental impact of those things. And then you can think of global warming potential. You can think of photochemical ozone formation, etc., etc., etc. So those are the items, in fact, that can be used to show the impact of the things you are doing. The green public procurement criteria are, in fact, for, as I said, the whole process. So that means, in fact, from the beginning to the end. So you could say from the conception to the grave. And it means that it starts with selecting the design team and the contractors. Then, in fact, you have the detailed design and performance requirements. When you talk about, let's say, B, the design, then, in fact, you could have, for instance, technical specifications, and you could have, for instance, minimum requirements for low noise pavements. You also can look at award criteria for the contract, and as an example, I mentioned 4 over here. You could have, let's say, award criteria that are dealing with rolling resistance, and the rolling resistance is, in fact, meant for the comprehensive criteria. If you talk about performance requirements. You also can talk about, let's say, LCA performance of the road and of the road elements. You can, let's say, have award criteria for the incorporation of recycled material. You also can have award criteria, for instance, for the performance of low noise services. So there are a lot of possibilities just along for that part of the design in the performance. Then, in fact, you can have a lot of items, and you will have a lot of items for the construction, you will have a lot of items for the use, for the maintenance, and for the end of life. So, in fact, you will get a whole box with tools you can use if you want to procure green. I also would like to show you an example of the Netherlands. Because the Netherlands is, in fact, the only country in Europe that is really using green public procurement in their tendering. And it also shows you a little bit what it might mean if you really implement it in that way. As I said, in the Netherlands, they decided to use green procurement criteria in the public tenders. And the goal of the National Road Authority, the Rijkswaterstaat, is in fact to improve the sustainability of infrastructure projects and to reduce the energy consumption in 2020 by 20% compared with 2009. And to achieve all those things, they developed 4 instruments. The first instrument is, in fact, what they call the sustainability check. That's a tool what they use in the early planning stage. So in fact, that's, in fact, call it checking the whole plan, whether, let's say, there is a need, whether there are consequences, what are the consequences, blah, 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 of the, let's call it the design in an early stage. Then they also have a software tool, a life cycle analysis software tool, to calculate the environmental impact based on a life cycle analysis of materials and the energy used. And I think you have seen those things before. Sometimes people call it CO2 calculator and whatever. Then they also have in the Netherlands what they call a CO2 performance letter. And that's in fact a way to categorize companies. So in fact, a company who is not taking care of the environment at all, let's say, will be at the bottom of the ladder. And if you have a company with a real philosophy on CO2 reduction and who has all kinds of plans, etc., to strive for the best, in fact, then you can be at the top of the ladder. And when you are at the top of the ladder, in fact, that will give you advantages in the tendering process. And then you also have the fourth step, and that's in fact the tendering procedure. The tendering procedure in the Netherlands for Rijkswaterstaat is based on functional requirements. So in fact, you specify what you want. You don't describe in detail what you want. No, you say, this is what I want, and then in fact, it's up to the contractor to come up with, let's say, proposals and to come up with solutions. And they also have quality criteria in what they call the most economically advantageous tender, or the MEET process. So in fact, it means that they will evaluate your bid, and then in fact they will look at the best proposal. And when you look at those functional requirements, it gives the contractors the freedom to come up with new ideas. It stimulates to innovate. This system also means that the highest price in the tendering process can be the lowest in the end, by taking into account all the things I mentioned. And for, let's say, for calculating the effective tender price in the end, they, let's say, use several things. And let's say the hypothetical discount is in fact based on what they call a low environmental cost indicator value, or the ECI value, that is calculated by DuboCalc. Then it also, let's say, the discount depends on the position of the CO2 performance ladder of the company, and then it also depends on, let's say, the most economically advantageous tender itself. So in fact that means that you make a bid, and then in fact they will calculate, let's say, the reductions you can achieve. So when you look at the example over here, in fact you see that company A, this is, let's say, these are real values of a real project. So in fact company A in the tender came up with 13.8 million euros for a certain project, and company H came up with 17 million. And when you take into account all the things of the procedure I mentioned, then you see that in this case, the most expensive one got the project. So that means that the contractor who said it will cost you 17 million had in fact the best offer of all of them. So that means that when you take the best offer, then in fact you should take number H, because he is, let's say, delivering most value for money. And that's in fact what they do. That means that they look at the green aspects, but in fact H is delivering the best quality for the amount of money. And that's why he is getting the tender in this case. So to conclude, the European Commission is, let's say, developing green public procurement criteria for the design, the construction and the maintenance of roads at this moment. And this is to stimulate the European road authorities to design, to build and to maintain roads in a green, sustainable way. The criteria that will be published by the end of this year or in the beginning of next year, they are voluntary criteria. That means that each country will decide what they do with it. So they might decide to forget it totally. They might decide to use some of the core criteria. They also might to go, let's say, to the full set of things they can use. And I could conclude by saying that a good use of those criteria can lead to innovation, and it can lead to CO2 reduction. Very recently, there was an article in the Dutch magazine of the Dutch Contractors Association in the Netherlands. In fact, they are, let's say, discussing and evaluating the system they have in the Netherlands. In fact, they say that we don't want to go back to the system we had in the past. We don't want to go back to the system where the cheapest one gets the job. That's not what we want. Of course, there are things in the Dutch system that can be improved, and they will discuss it. So, in fact, the people are in general happy with it, but of course there are certain things that can be optimized for the future. So that's in fact what you can expect in the near future regarding green public procurement. Thank you very much.